most feared planet on this in the astrological, between astrologers and between everyone, is Saturn, Shani Devta. When we talk about Saturn, we always get feared, Sade Sati, Saturn Mahadasha, Saturn placement, and whatnot. But we have to understand the character of that person as well. That what kind of character does Saturn have? Where does this all problems come from, or why it is called the planet of delay? Now, before I move into my presentation and everything, I would like to tell you that look at something very unique. So, Parashara in the Hora Shastra takes Saturn as the last planet. After that, it does not consider Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, anyone else, because Saturn is the last planet in our solar system that can be visibly, or you can see it from your naked eye. That means it has that ability to show itself. After that, the planets are very far, you cannot see them with your naked eye. Now you see the point here. The first in the line is Sun, where the soul begins, and the last in the line is where Saturn is, where the soul ends. So there is a very important thing to hear. That's why Saturn is called the Ayukaraka, because the beginning happens from Sun, then it transcends to Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and then comes to Saturn, where it says, okay, finally we are done. So the one way to look at planets in this way is that if your eighth house is associated with any kind of planet that is like Mercury, Venus, then Mars, then Jupiter, then Saturn, so depending on the intensity of their fartherness from Sun, we can see that what will be the longevity. That's why Saturn is a very primary planet that tells about how far we will go. In fact, when we go into the detail of Saturn, like when we go into higher depth of Saturn, we see that Saturn is Vayu, that means air. And what is important for us to breathe? The heart can be replaced, lungs can be replaced, kidney can be replaced, but what cannot be replaced? That ability to breathe. The breathing that we do is related to taking air for survival. Without food, without water, you can survive for a very long period of time. Without air, you cannot. And Ayu and Vayu, this is Saturn. Anyways, coming to the topic now, here we go. Saturn was born to Surya, the sun god, and Chaya, who's called the shadow, that is Ma Chaya. Surya's wife, Sanghya, could not bear the intense heat and radiance of sun. She created a shadow clone of herself named Chaya to take her place while she went away to perform penance. While Shanidev was in Chaya's womb, she was devoted to Lord Shiva, that she performed intense penance under the scorching sun, often forgetting to eat or drink. That's why Shani is also connected to malnutrition, because when Shani was born, he was born a very different kind of a child. He was malnutrition, he was very thin, he was black. Because of Chaya's intense heat filled penance and her shadow nature, Shani was born to a dark complexion. That's why Shani is always considered black or bluish, darkish bluish black. Vishnu is considered the bright blue, and Saturn is considered the dark blue. When Surya first saw his son, he was disappointed by the child, dark color, and doubted if Shani was truly his. Now we have to see very closely the doubt of Surya, and it is very valid. It was not anything that has to do with Surya's or Chaya's intention. It was all a game that one was played with Surya. See, when Sanghyama went and Chaya came in, that is the time son did not know that such kind of, what you say, decoy is happening in my life. So he would surely doubt. So that's why we see the nature of son is a very doubtful nature now, because son got doubt. Within real life, he couldn't figure out that something like this happened in his life. There were the daughter of Vishwakarma ji, Ma Sangya, was so powerful that she did a shadow and son couldn't even understand that there was something like this here happening. This rejection and the insult to his mother caused Shani to cast a cruel gaze, that is drishti, upon his father, which momentarily shattered the sun's black and caused him to lose his radiance. The sun became black. There was a grahan-like effect as soon as Saturn came. Saturn gazed at sun. So Saturn's gaze this was the first pramana of his birth only. Like as soon as he was born, Saturn's gaze really troubled Surya's existence, and Surya got very scared that what the hell is happening here with me. Now, Saturn is known as Ayusha Karaka, or the significator of longevity. The role comes from his relationship with Yama, the god of death. As Shani rose to his new position, a deep understanding developed between the two brothers. Earlier, they were very big, very important. They were rivals. They were always fighting with each other. But then, when they once rivals, they realized that their roles were two sides of the same coin. Yama is the Pranaharta, the taker of life. He is responsible for transition of soul to after the body dies. That, okay, I will take your soul and now put it into a different place. Whether it is whatever you want to believe, hell, heaven, new birth, animals, kingdom, plants, water, wherever it wants to place, it will place. And if everyone is so, I had a question with this, and I asked to my guru, and he was laughing at me, and I said, Yama has only one person. How can he do so much? Then when you go into Yama, you do Yama stories, you will understand that there are Yama Dutas. That means he has different kind of subordinates who bring the soul to him. He does not go anywhere. Shani becomes the Ayusha Karaka. He is responsible for the length and time one spends in this physical body to exhaust their prarabdha karma. That is why Shani is related to that. Now, Yama recognized that Shani's slow movement and his relentless focus on discipline were essential for the balance of the universe. Unless and until this kind of quality, any planet will not have, like Sun, egoistic, Mercury, very fast, Mars, impulsive, anger, Jupiter, only thinking about knowledge. Here, Saturn comes in that play and says that, okay, you know what? I will be the one who will be giving the punishment. So Yama said that Shani could have this boon from me. And Yama granted a boon and an acknowledgement that Shani would have the final say over the eighth house in astrology, the house of longevity and the mode of death. That is why the sixth house, eighth house, and 12th house in astrology is always the significator of those houses. Whatever your planet will be, doesn't matter. But the significator is always and always Saturn. Now, here Yama effectively said, I will not touch the soul until you, Shani, have decided that their karmic accounts for this birth are settled or not settled. So that's why all the karma, hisab kitab, or we say lekha jokha, or we say the ledger balance of our karmas is all maintained by Saturn. That is why it is called karma phaladata. That means the giver of results for your karmas. Shani didn't just receive a title here. He earned the role of Ayusha Karaka through his commitment to justice. Yama's boon was the cosmic agreement that god of death would wait upon the god of karma. That means unless and until your karma is finished, you cannot die. Sometimes people die and come back to life. I was listening to a story of a woman who was dead for 13 minutes, came back to life. Why? Because karma was not finished. She lived around 7 years. One small story, my grandfather told me. I was very young, and my grandmother, my nani, she was on her deathbed, and she was screaming that, oh, aa gaye ghode aa gaye, like horses are here, horses are here. I am going, I don't want to die. Take her, take her, take her, take him, take her. My grandfather said maybe the yum or your yamadutas, or the we can say reaper is here to take her. And she did not pass away. She showed signs of passing away completely, that she was completely dead. And automatically, after a point of time, she got up after 3 4 5 7 minutes, and she lived after that for 12 years. So sometimes, you never know. It is all about final, that is Shani has given the final approval that, okay, go or don't go. That's how it works. Now, here, that is why in Vedic astrology, a strong Saturn is often associated with a very long life. And Saturn slows down the approach of Yama to ensure all karmic debts are paid. So, as soon as Sun, if you see, the soul begins from there, the journey until the time it reaches Saturn to give you final judgment. Then Yama comes and says, okay, let's go to the darkness where the naked eye also cannot see. So, that is how powerful our cosmic balance has been created by all the other planets and whatnot. Okay, so today in this video, this is a small introduction to Shani Dev to make you understand what kind of planet he is. One important thing that we will discuss today is the effects of Saturn in 12 houses. It's a very generic effect you may have or you may have not because of other aspects, other combinations, other nakshatras, placements, conjunctions, trilliums, so many things. But still, a general idea you will get that how Saturn is going to affect you in your life. Starting with the first house. Now, the first house in the birth chart becomes the Marana Karaka Sthana for Saturn. What does it mean? It means that Saturn here is dead. Saturn does not want to, Saturn is not an egoistic planet. Saturn is not a planet of too much of planning. Saturn is a planet of lot of doing. Planning is not there. Saturn is doing. First house is planning. What are you planning now? I will start planning, and then other resources of my life will start acting for me. Now, here, if you have Saturn in the first house, Marana Karka on the sign, it means that Saturn is not that powerful for the placement. For the aspect, it is very powerful when it can just tarnish Sun. What are we? Now, here, if you have Saturn in the first house, you will see that you have a very disciplined as well as very serious kind of personality. You're not a fun loving person, you are a serious person. You take things very seriously. And because it is in the first house is your bachpan, it is your childhood. 4,000 first house are your childhood. This is that real childhood where you get maturity at a very, very, very early age. Something that comes very early and stays with you for a very long time is the first house Saturn's maturity that it comes. Now, understand, I have seen with this Maranakarika Saturn to become athletes in with Saturn in this place and third house Mars, for example, just giving an example because I know that chart. Why? Because first house is also the house of your stamina, the kind of thing that you have inside you, the patience that you have inside you. That is the patience, the stamina that you have to take things forward. So you become very powerful when it comes to stamina. You have the stamina to even receive humiliation for a very long time and then finally you react. That is the nature of Saturn in the first house. You will see with Saturn in the first house, because it is a Marana Karaka Sthana, you will see a very restrictive self expression. If you want to try to initiate a conversation with someone, what is this someone? Someone is the seventh house because it is the reflection where Saturn is putting. So for your partner, you will be very, very shy or you will not be giving proper effort or you may always keep waiting for the right time. That is also what happens here. But wherever Saturn sits, it will give you some sorrow in life. Sometimes when Saturn is in the first house, it gives you sorrow during your childhood growing up, that you really feel that, okay, you know what, and that is the reason you become mature at an early age, because it gives you that sorrow that, now there is no going back. I have to achieve it, means I have to achieve it. So slowly, because of the sorrow, because of the condition or the circumstances around your life, you now want to achieve everything very nicely, very quickly, without any wasting any time. Now, the first house is also associated with your body type, with your skin. Dry skin. Saturn is a cold planet. Why we die and people say, oh, he's become cold? Why? Because the Saturn takes over your body when you're dead. It has to give that body or give that elements to Yama again. That okay, take it. So it has to make it cold. When you are born, first thing the doctor will check what is the heat of your body. Are you in fever? Are you not? What not? Because sun gives you heat. Your body contains that heat for you to live. But when it comes to Saturn, it will make you completely cold and you're done. There's heat, sun is gone out of your body. That is why dry skin, cold, very, very affect. Sometimes many people with sun in the Saturn in the first house, they do not even care about cold. They do not feel cold. And if it is in very bad placement with some very malefic, then there may be possibility that you may have massive dry skins, lot of things related to do with, slow physical development, slow speech, slow approach in life. That is what we can see here with Saturn. But because your identity, your Aruda, like how people look at you, is more of a patient person, it is going to be a very great placement for, managing a team. If you want to manage a team, if you want to manage people around you, yes, you will see that automatically your patience is giving you You may feel, because Saturn, sometimes some planets influence will come on Saturn, and it may feel that I want to take action right now, I want to do it right away. But patience will be the one that will be keeping you, patience will be the one keeping you stitched together. The temperament here becomes extremely and extremely, sometimes, to be sorry to use this word, but cunning. You always think that how it is profit for me in this lifetime. That is the that is how Saturn behaves in the first house. And if that is not the case, then you need to start doing that, because Saturn is a cunning planet. Saturn has no friends, Saturn has no enemies. Saturn is very, very non-biased. It says, I am cunning person. If you have done wrong, I don't care. I will do wrong to you. And I feel happy about it because you did wrong. When Saturn is in the first house, your structure, if there is no other malefic influence, your structure can become tall. You will have very long teeth. You will have very powerful bones. The structure will be very good. Also, when we see that, you will not have too much joint pains, because from childhood you will be taking some care or the else for Saturn. You'll be, your oil in the body will be very nice, nicely absorbed, so that is very good. Now here, late of the life, when we are very later in life, that this there is a problem, then arthritis can come, and there can be knee replacements, etc., if you have Saturn in the first house. So that is because it puts an aspect on the 10th house, and 10th house is your knees. So depending on the placement of planet there, it may be, it may how you will be able to see. But Saturn in the first house, because of Marana Karaka Sthana, just imagine the effort, the labor inside you has is died. If it is really debilitated also here, and completely Marana Karaka Sthan also, then you will see that you are too lazy, and you are, you will keep blaming yourself for failures where you have not even tried. That is also sometimes Saturn does, if it is not sitting with a benefic planet. If it is with a benefic planet, then automatically Saturn takes some energy from that planet and starts to give you some results. The biggest problem of people with Saturn in the first house is self-criticism. They will criticize themselves only. They don't believe in themselves. They will always say that I am wrong. If I do this, this will take so much time. Why should I do this? They will not initiate. It is very important for you to initiate things. The nature that you will feel, or the circumstances that you will be in, will always be very isolated. You may feel very isolated. You may feel there is a party going on. In that party also, you are isolated. You will feel that, oh, I don't belong here. Because here, Saturn completely belongs in that cold environment, cozy environment. Like, no, I just don't want anything here. I just want to be all by myself, because of the inherent nature of Saturn. When Saturn was born, he was thrown into Surya Loka, into one place which was a cold, dark place. So it always stayed there. So that is how you also feel that I want to be in that kind of a place. Saturn here does not say there is denial in success, but there is late blooming. You bloom very late in your life. Very, very late life. You also, sometimes your life is just here to give you one small lesson, and that starts from the childhood and ends when you die. So there is only one experience that you get here in this lifetime, because Saturn is very monotonous. It says that this is what it is. There is nothing exciting. Mercury is very, uh, what you call, very expressive. Saturn is not express. Saturn will keep quiet all the time. And because Saturn is in the first house, also remember that it is the Karaka of the eighth house, your long life also there. And sometimes in this search, your determination is also for a very long time. Commitment. These kind of people are the people that you're looking for commitment. Such people with first house, Saturn is aspecting the seventh house, where Saturn puts the, what you say, the Saturn becomes Digbala in the seventh house. In that case, people with the first house Saturn are the people who will stay in your company for a very long time, or you may want to be in a workplace for a very long time, keep dragging on that same job on and on and on, which is very good for the employer. Ambition can be too much, but always it will take a lot of patience for you to really overcome or really get something out of that. So this is my little bit of analysis on what I have been learning for a very long time about how Saturn reacts. I hope that it resonates with you. If not, then tell me about your placements, where your Saturn is, what kind of effects, what kind of relationship it is making with other planets, which can modify the existence of Saturn, the nature of Saturn, the results of Saturn in your birth chart. Okay, all the very best. And there is a WhatsApp link in the description if you want to take any personal readings regarding your chart. Or if not, please follow us on Instagram and subscribe. That is my request if you're taking this Free gyan from me. All the best. Let's move to the second house of house number two. And if Saturn is placed in your number two, then it also signifies a lot of things. Now, second house, we talk about family, our finances, our, we can say, our, you know, family business, legacy, all this kind of stuff that we talk about second house. But when Saturn comes here, so understand the nature of the Saturn. I've discussed in the beginning of the video about Saturn's story and the nature of the Saturn. Saturn has to give you some sorrow when it is in the second house. Any place where Saturn will sit, it'll give you some sorrow, because from sorrow we start learning that okay, how we want to take things forward. Now, because second house is also the house that rules our mouth, our teeth, our tongue, our throat, our eyes, our face, everything. Saturn is a planet of longevity. Remember this, and it is exactly opposite from the house of longevity. That is the Maraka placement of the second house. Here, it may not kill you because of the aspect of Saturn on the eighth house. It may increase your longevity, but sometimes when second house Saturn comes, it gives you sometimes critical illnesses very early in your life. When you're 30, 35, 36, 37, at that period, it gives you some kind of critical illness or start some medicines or give you some very very scary situation. With Saturn in the second house, it is also the house that is related to finances. Now, Saturn is not a planet that loves finances. Saturn loves karma. It gives you, it rewards you once you start working very hard. But when it comes to more of wealth, Saturn is not a wealth giving planet. It is more of opportunity giving planet. It gives a lot of opportunities, but because of second house placement and slow nature of Saturn, it can give you delayed wealth. That means wealth can come and happen when it's too, we cannot say too late, but it is when it is later in your life. With also Saturn in the second house, Saturn rules the teeth of any kind of person, that the enamel of the teeth formation. Because Saturn in the second house, you may have large, long, very strong teeth. And sometimes if it is afflicted, it can have lot of dental sensitivity. Without any reason, dental sensitivity will be there. Second house is also the house from where we eat food. When Saturn comes here, you also are the person that can actually follow very strict diet and maintain your health. Now, when you see Saturn afflicted here, you will see that you will not be able eating all kind of rubbish and ruining your health. But when it is very good, you will see that eating wise, it brings you into a lot of discipline. In fact, with second house being the house of value system, also you you come across a person who is coming from a lot of restrictive family members, like people who are very restrictive, very strict, very, your family is very, very, what do you say, orthodox. That also we can say. Here, it is also about lot of values, because Saturn is a value driven planet. It takes all the values from its ancestors and try to apply it on its general life. Here, you also apply the value system in your life. With Saturn being with second house being the house of speech, and Saturn sitting here, it is a very conservative speech that you do. Like, these people are not very good, they can be very good speakers, but they will speak to the point, and you can be the one who can be speaking only when it is required. So that kind of Saturn, it shows that you'll do measured speaking, that when you speak, it will be measured, and you will be talking very, very sense around it. When we talk about resource management, because second house is also the house related to resource management, you get a lot of inheritance here. Sometimes from your family members, you get something carried forward to you. Same way as we talk about resource, sometimes it is also the curses of the family members, that all the type of financial burden that they have, they also come on you. So sometimes you may be in a situation where you don't know how to function, either to take care of yourself or take care of the family problems. But here, because of Saturn being a very mature planet, you have maturity when it comes to taking responsibility of the family. You have maturity to handle your wealth also. If Saturn is afflicted by Rahu or something, then there is a little bit of challenge. But when it is just alone and it is getting aspects of any benefit, then this is very great placement of Saturn. You will see that sometimes, you will see that a lot of thriftness is there in your life. You will be a person who will have serious family values. Also, there is, you are trying to always regenerate old things, like old things you do not want to throw away from your life. You want old things are like very new for you. In fact, you are the person who will always keep their stuff very nicely for a very longer period of time. What is the second house? Like for example, if someone give you some money as a donation, as a, what do you say, good luck, that okay, take this, your aunt gave you, your grandmother gave you, your grandfather gave you will keep it for a very long period of time, because the nature of Saturn in the second house is to preserve your and preserve the family's money, or the money that you get, for a very long period of time. Second house is also the house that is related to your metabolism, any metabolism. So you have a slow metabolic rate, so such people can gain weight also very quickly and lose weight very slowly. So slow metabolic rate here, so this is something that we need to be very careful about. Also, when we see the nature of Saturn in the second house, it becomes a very hardworking and a very honest, what you say, the nature of Saturn here is very hardworking and very honest. So such people, you can rely on them. If you have someone in Saturn in the second house and you want to work with them, you can rely on such person, because they are always very honest to what they say. And the moment they will do any, show any dishonesty or show ego, immediately their life will start having a problem. So if you have someone in your life who is Saturn in the second house, and if suddenly their life is showing a little bit of disturbance, that means they have done something wrong, either to family, either to their, in the case of inheritance, in the case of money, something wrong they have done. That's why Saturn is giving them punishment instantly. Here, this is also a house which talks about structural income. Now, it is also the karma bhava. That means the place of karma for the fifth house. And fifth house is your speculative gains. Those who have Saturn in the second house and the fifth house lord in the 10th from itself, either they will either get some money from their children, either there is a possibility that they will get something from investments, long term investments, something that you have done now. Long term results is what you will reap. Because it is second from the lagna, it also means that the nature of that person's appearance, body, or approach will be slow in life. And this is very good, because patience really pays off. I have seen impulsive people with Mars and Saturn in the second house. Such people are impulsive, and because of their impulsive decisions, they make wrong choices. So here, because Saturn is in a good placement in the second house, it gives make you very good long term results. Now, there is one small thing which is required here, that many people want to do business. If second house Saturn is there, then you will be not very good at convincing, or not very good at negotiating. So it's not a very great placement for business. So somehow, if you want to do business in second house, then there are a lot of other variations or other planetary positions that we need to see. So because these people are very slow in taking decisions, or committing, so that's why business is not a great idea. So otherwise, I hope that this gave you a little bit of insight about how your second house is, what kind of what you say results you may feel that you get according to Saturn in the second house. Do let me know in the comments below, where is your Saturn, what kind of Saturn you have, who is aspecting, who is it conjunct with, because this gives a lot of clarity about how it is going to react. And also remember, the real success will come from family lineage. So if you see that your family has done something, and if you go into that same field, or take that emotion kind of thing in your field, then it will be very, very successful for you. Okay, all the very best. Do comment below, let me know. Do subscribe, and there is a WhatsApp link in the description if you want to show your birth chart and understand that what kind of results you may get according to the planetary placements. You can put that request in the link below. Thank you so much. See you in the next video, which is continuing every day. Every 2 days I'm going to be releasing some nice videos. All the best. Moving to the third house of a horoscope. Third house in any horoscope is the battlefield of that horoscope. And when Saturn goes there, let's see how it gives results to you. Now, if we talk about third house, first thing that comes to the mind is concentration, because unless and until there is concentration, you cannot do communication. When Saturn comes here, it makes your concentration slow as well as very precise. So one good thing with Saturn in the third house is that it gives great concentration abilities. Now, because Saturn is a planet that is strategy oriented planet, which takes long time to really give you results, here you will see that tactical communication is something that will be very powerful related to Saturn. Saturn is a planet of tactical communication. It means that it will listen It will understand, then it will act. That is the kind of Saturn that you have in the third house. Because this is a house that is specially related to communication, siblings, short distance travel, everything related to this. How this placement of Saturn can have a significant impact on these areas. Now, when we talk about short distance travel, there can be always, you see that whenever you're doing short distance travel, there is either some delays or either there is some kind of obstacle that will come to your life. Like you're supposed to go somewhere, suddenly the ticket will change, the flight will cancel. Such kinds of things may happen at multiple times whenever Saturn is active in your chart. But this also says that you will be very isolated in your own family. See, second house is the house of family, and third house is the house that is related to gains from family. Here, there may be possibilities that, if example, everyone is getting some inheritance and you are also part of it. Suddenly, you will be so isolated, so away from it that you do not get anything. You feel like, and you desire it, but you are not a part of it. That is how it feels in the third house. In third house, you are very isolated or very scared about what your neighbors think about you. That is how the Saturn works in this third house. Because you need to be very cautious of your neighbor also, because the nazar dosha or anything to do with evil eye or people not getting happy because of your achievements is seen with Saturn in the third house. Now, third house is also the house, the first house of learning in any birth chart. Anything that has to do with learning, anything that has to do with, reading, writing is the third house. Sometimes if Saturn is in a very, very difficult condition here, it may delay the ability for you to read, learn, write, or you may be a slow learner. That also sometimes it does. In fact, if you learned, you got the idea in the first point, but you may be a person who may apply it slow towards how to actually benefit from this kind of situation. So somehow Saturn in the third house, very good because it's an Upchaya house, it is the house of longevity. Now you may be very surprised why third house is the house of longevity. Third house is eighth from the eighth. So this decides how the death will happen, where the death will happen, what are the conditions of death. And Saturn comes here, so Saturn will delay everything. When we talk about Saturn, it is also related to bones in your body and joints in your body. And the third house especially rules your ear. They may have a very long term problem related to hearing loss. If Saturn is in the third house, there can be possibility you have a long term hearing loss. Sometimes with Saturn here, you may have cervical related issues. Cervical spine is where you may feel a lot of tension and a lot of problem here. Also, when we talk about Saturn in the third house, it is also your hands. If you are working from your hand, like these people should not do labor work because they will be very slow when it comes to labor work. It is more of something for use your hand for giving judgment, like very powerful placement of Saturn for those people who are actually lawyers and judges and in the judicial system, because here you have the power to write someone's destiny, that what they are supposed to do. So very strategic placement of Saturn, because this is a planet or planet of strategic planning also, and this is the house of strategic planning also. Sometimes where we see Saturn here, many people will have very secret hobbies. They may have something very close to their heart, but they didn't want their social circle to know about it. That is something that happens here. If Mars is anywhere associated with Saturn in the third house, there can also be mechanical capabilities, like you can become a mechanical engineer, you can become something to do with complex machines. That is what you can do very well here. With third house, it also says that there is going to be a lot of isolation from your siblings, from your neighbors, from your family members. You are going to be speaking slow, and sometimes after the event is done, like you wanted to say something very powerful, but you may wait, and suddenly the event is done, and then you will come that, okay, I wanted to share my expression here. This is what it is. Now, because third house is the house of repeating things as well, because what happens is that in the Kalpurush Kundli, third house is a nakshatra called Punarvasu nakshatra, the end of the third house. So here, if Saturn is placed here, there may also be possibility that you are redoing, rethinking, and that is where the problem is. Many people with Saturn in the third house, they keep thinking that I will do this, I will do that, but they do not take action because of that thinking only. So it is better for these people who have Saturn in the third house to have a pen and paper and write down your task, that this is what I'm supposed to do and this is what I'm supposed to achieve. For third house Saturn, the karma bhava becomes the 12th house. That means mostly Your education sometimes happen in a foreign country, or you settle in a foreign country, or there are circumstances which make you keep traveling between long distance areas. Somewhere, sometime you go, sometime you come back, sometime you go, sometime you come back. So this is a very common thing when we see Saturn in the third house. But with a very powerful placement from the fifth house, Saturn is sitting 11th. This means lot of gains through studies. These people are the one, and because Saturn is putting the third aspect on the fifth house, the effort of you studying, of learning, of skill development will never go waste. Sometimes if you have, so for your example, you're a software engineer, but now suddenly life has taken you into different terms and you are working in some different field altogether, does not mean that your education is now a waste. It will come useful for you at certain point of time when you're not even expecting that it can come to use, and that will become your biggest strength. Because people will say, okay, you know what, we are looking for someone, you whatever you're doing, but they should have experience of this, and you say, oh, I have studied software engineering, example. So that is something which this location of Saturn in the third house tells us. One more thing, that here, because third house is also the house of what other people feel about you, or your communication, or about your appearance, or about you, how you behave, your body language. This is also the placement which is not that great, because it's an upchaya house, so sometimes people may judge you very quickly. With Saturn in the third house, you may get judged very quickly, that, oh, this person, no, 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 no. They are not understanding that it is not a small kitten, it is that lion or lioness inside that body. So that is something where you need to be a little bit of extrovert, because with Saturn in the third house, you tend to be an introvert person. You tend to be a person who wants to keep everything to themselves. But slow and steady wins the race is the real meaning of Saturn in the third house. You will see that, anything that you do, unless and until you become a master of that craft, you will not take completely risk, we can say. This is the placement of master, or being a master of the craft. With Saturn in the third house, you're always very spiritual, because the seventh aspect of Saturn goes on the ninth house. So you are very connected to gurus, spiritual teachers, counselors. And with Saturn in the third house, it's a very great placement for those people who want to write something or create something that remains in their legacy. So if you write something, publish a book, publish an article, publish a poetry, it will remain for the rest of your eternity, because this is your placement of Saturn. Saturn here can give longevity to your communication also. Same way goes for your bad communication. You say something bad, it will be there for a very long time in family, that in 1931 you said this on 8 o'clock. I remember this. This is what perception becomes. Whatever you do will have a very long impact on everything around you. So I suggest that always try to be very motivated. If there is any long term impact, let that long term impact come from your from your good deeds. And especially with the third house being the house of Parakrama, obviously Saturn is not a planet who's taking some swords and running in order, but Saturn has the sword. There's the element of wit, element of intelligence, element of patience. So you should be very proud and happy that you have such kind of qualities inside you. Now, there are different combinations. If Saturn is with some other planet, if Saturn is with conjunct, if Saturn is retrograde, if Saturn, so many placements. But this is generally what Saturn does in the third house of a horoscope. Okay, all the very best. Do comment below. Let me know how your Saturn is acting in the third house, what kind of combination, what kind of association it is making. I will try to answer as much as possible. I have been trying to keep up, but then I put 600 messages. Then I have to go slowly, slowly. So I will try to do as much as possible. And there is a WhatsApp link in the description for personal appointments. And do subscribe. Welcome to the family, and let's learn this difficult things together. All the very best. Let's now move to the fourth house. Talk about the fourth house and Saturn's placement in the fourth house. This is a very karmic placement of Saturn. Now, fourth house is your family roots as well. It is your mother. It is the love that you receive from your mother, or the nurturing that universe actually provides to you. If you go on a very larger level, fourth house is the house that where social, emotional, that universal love towards you. That is exactly what you see in the fourth house. It is a very important house related to your domestic order, and your childhood is always associated with the fourth house. Now, here, those people who have Saturn in the fourth house might have uh, either great challenges when it comes to the finding the love of the mother, or either the understanding of the love between you yourself for your from your mother or from your family happens at a very later stage in life. You may always feel that it is very strict, the family tradition, the family conditions are very strict, and it's not the kind of love that you want at that point of time. But later in your life, when you grow up to be mature, you feel that yes, exactly, that was the right kind of love and dedication and nurturing that we were getting. Saturn is a harsh planet. It is a planet that gives sorrow. Wherever it sits, it will give some sorrow related to that house. Now, here, this means that it can be clearly indicating a very strict, very straightforward mother, as well as it can also determine that something that always requires you to follow your family traditions or the roots or what the family really wants you to do. Saturn is connected to old things. So here, old properties, old real estate, or getting real estate through lineage or through your grandparents is one very important factor here. Saturn represents grandparents in your birth chart. So there is a possibility that you may receive some inheritance or something that has to do with some property that is of your grandparents and that comes to you. That is a very common thing when Saturn is in the fourth house. It is also the house that tells us about when we want to purchase a house, what kind of obstacles we get. And Saturn is all about obstacle. If you don't have patience, it will keep giving you obstacles. Same way, it also tells about the internal discipline that we have. Are we disciplined or no? Do we take life seriously or no? Do we accept nurturing in a serious way, or we just think that people are doing anything for us, we don't care? So that is the placement of Saturn in the fourth house. Now, when Saturn is in the fourth house, what you have a Pitra dosh or you don't have a Pitra dosh doesn't matter. It indicates that there is some ancestral karma that is pending, and you come here either to finish that karma or either to what you say, surrender that finally we cannot do it anymore. It is the 12th from the fifth house. Remember this fourth house. It is the ending of Purva Punya. That means, okay, I have to complete my Purva Punya. And Saturn is associated with Purva Punya, the karmic patterns of you, your ancestors. Now, see, I will tell you a small example about how to look at Saturn here. When we look at ancestors or when we look at lineage and whatnot, if our grandfather, if our forefathers made a lot of property, today we are in such a great place when we have acres and acres of land, we are so wealthy, happy. But if they created problems, or they always created some challenges in their life, so the lineage is suffering. That is why this is the nature of Saturn in the fourth house. Depending on the karmas of the forefather, here is where your Saturn comes in place and says that now you are the one to end this cycle of miserable things. With Saturn in the fourth house, mostly you come here to make a legacy for yourself, that your future, like how you receive what you say, some inheritance from your grandparents, now here is the one you will create that kind of powerful legacy for the future to come. That is what Saturn in the fourth house does. In fact, sometimes in this situation, because it's the inheritance that come from your grandparents or some older properties, it can be a lot of delay in that situation as well. But one thing which is very good is that when Saturn is in the fourth house, such people get maturity at a very younger age. Like, these people do not need to turn 28 to become mature or turn 18 to become adult. At 11, 12 years of age, they are completely at maturity. At 36 years of age, they are at this position where you cannot even win from them. Like, that is the power of Saturn here in the fourth house. And if Saturn is in the fourth house, you may also be connected to a lot of ground energy. You may be very, you may be an activist sometimes for, saving, conserving nature, conserving animals. Nowadays, there are less people like this, but yes, very, very connected to the ground, to the energy of your, what you say, of your home, of your place, of land, of the birthplace. Such people are the people who actually, because Saturn is in the fourth house, it is destroying the fourth house. That means it is saying that you need to get ejected here from your home country. You need to go to some other place and live. I don't care. You will not get success here. You will not get here. So such people may go to a foreign country to earn a lot of money, then come back to their home country and make something very definite, big, that leaves a legacy for their lifetime. Also, when your Saturn is in the fourth house, because Saturn is a very traditional and orthodox planet, your nature, your ideology becomes very orthodox for your kids, also for yourself, also for your spouse, also even for your home. You will want to live in a traditional kind of a setup, a traditional home, which has a temple, which has, place of worship, which has everything in order. Some OCD is what we can say when Saturn is in the fourth house. One thing that is here is that constant renovation or constant expenses in your home to make it better. Or this is the main problem with people in the Saturn in the fourth house, because I am telling with first hand experience. I have Saturn in the fourth house. What happens in this situation is that you see a problem, then you ignore it, then you keep ignoring it. Like if door is having some problem, you will keep ignoring, you will say okay, later, you will delay things. And what happens later, you will have to completely replace that. So because of the laziness or the delays that you do, you have to suffer for extra expenses. That's what is happening with Saturn here. You will also see that, you will have a very conservative lifestyle. You get $1 million or you get $100 million, you will still be very conservative, because you remember the hardship that you have faced during your childhood. So you do not want to spend lavish money or extra money on anything. You will be very considerate about spending as well. That is very important aspect of Saturn. Now Saturn here is connected to two very important houses, that is your sixth house, your 10th house, and it is also associated with Lagna, but that is overall not that important placement right now. We want to talk about the third aspect on the sixth house and the seventh aspect on the 10th house, and both are related to workplace. These people are very justice oriented people, as well as you will be a workaholic. What you cannot sit at one place in home, you will always be working. Labor, hard labor is the truth of your life, is a reality of your life. Whatever you do, you cannot sit still. You will have to work hard on everything that you want to achieve. And because Saturn is a very mature planet, when it comes to the fourth house, you will get mature at a very early age, and which means it will be a very serious childhood that you will see. You will not see a very fun loving childhood where you're having fun. Many cases when Saturn is in the fourth house, there is possibility that your parents are not there and your grandparents actually take care of you, or somehow your parents are so busy that they're not available, and grandparents are the one who actually raise you up. That is also what we see with Saturn in the fourth house. Very good placement for people who want to get into property management. Very good people who want to become real estate lawyers for real estate. Very great placement for people who want to get into agriculture, something to do with land, with construction. Saturn is hard labor, so remember, if you get into construction field when Saturn is in the fourth house, and if by chance Saturn and Mars are making any combination, and if you get into that field, it will be a very amazing field for you. Construction materials, mechanical engineering, hardware engineering, anything to do in terms of, we can say something that is related to water purification. Related to Saturn is also related to something where you make metals. Like Mars is the metal, but the place where you make metal is Saturn. Like industries, like heavy manufacturing industries, everything is related to Saturn. Okay. And also one important thing which I want to tell you is that when Saturn is in the fourth house, you are a person who will take burden of everyone on yourself. Everyone in your family will be your responsibility. That is the first thing that Saturn does. But sometimes, because it is in the fourth house and it is looking at the 10th house, there may be some differences with your father. You may have a little bit of differences with your father, challenges, sometimes rift, because of the seventh aspect of Saturn on the 10th house. I hope that gives you a little bit of clarity about how Saturn works in the fourth house for you. I wish and I hope that you connect with us, you do subscribe, and if you want to know about your chart more and more and more details, then you can get into WhatsApp 4034931188, and also follow us on Instagram. Thank you. All the best. Let's now move to the fifth house of a horoscope. Fifth house Saturn is a very, we can say, creative Saturn, because this Saturn does not have knowledge of this life. Saturn has knowledge of so many lifetimes from the past. Fifth house is the house of Purva Punya. When you have Saturn in the fifth house, the intellectual level is at a different, what you say, frequency altogether. People may not be able to understand you very easily. The kindness that you show is going to be ignored by many people around you. They will take you for granted. That is the first insight that I have seen with Saturn in the fifth house. You see that if you get into commitment related to romance or romantic life, you will be so committed, so much committed into your partner, that you will be a loyal partner for life. That is the placement of Saturn in the fifth house. Even I have seen one very beautiful chart of someone from Texas. She had Saturn in the fifth house with Venus. This person divorced the husband, later remarried that same husband again. So sometimes such kind of situations come to your life, or such kind of circumstances are always, around you. When we look at fifth house, it is also the house related to education. Now, when we talk about education, it is more of, learning with depth. These people do not learn on surface; they learn with depth. And because Saturn is a planet, if they do not get depth on the right point at the right education field or education area, they may suddenly change the education area. That's why with Saturn in the fifth house, there is multiple times that you'll have break in education. You may do multiple different streams of education altogether. So you can become a bachelor's in computer science and become masters in communication, or you can become then PhD in history. Like that kind of stuff is what it is all about. This Saturn has the ability, because Saturn is Ayu Karaka, and the son and the brother of, what you say, Yama. This Saturn has some memories of the past life. Those people who have Saturn in the fifth house will always dream about their past lives. They are the perfect candidate for those who are coming for past life regression, or they want to know what their past life was. They come across such kind of things. Now here you will see that the education that you do may be very orthodox, or maybe very, very traditional. In fact, you will want your children, your kids also to get into such kind of education only. Very orthodox, very traditional, very, sorry to use the word monotonous, that okay, do this only, repeat this only, learn this only. And these people have one more common habit. When you have Saturn in the fifth house, you will always go to the past to take a reference of something. You know what, in 20 years ago you told me this. This is what Saturn does here. On always thinking about the past, that I would have done like this, I should have done like this. With Saturn being a very slow planet and a malefic, very cold planet, it can give you sometimes problem when it comes to, creativity as well. It is a very good placement of Saturn to have, or when you conceive something, when you conceive an idea, it stays forever in your life. That is also something that comes here. But sometimes this is the placement where creative, because patience is a problem in everyone. Humans, patience is a very big problem. And since this is the placement where you show that, patience wise, it's not that able. So you may be able to be feeling disabled in patience. You may not have patience. You may want to do everything very quickly, and it may ruin your creativity. So sometimes creative block happens here because of Saturn in the fifth house. Now, with Saturn here, and especially fifth house being the house of out of the box thinking, those who want to, and if by chance Mars is any associated with Saturn here, getting into the field of IT, more of technology, more of technological creativity is where you will find much success in life. There is also one more problem. Don't take it in the wrong way, but I have seen some charts. In fact, my wife has the same Saturn in the fifth house, so I know. Such people are always irritated. I don't know it is with my wife only or with another friend of mine who has Saturn in the fifth house. Always they're always worried about something. I don't know why they're worried about something. Always they're thinking anything that they require a lot of me time. They are completely in their own zone. They don't want to talk to other people. They are completely feeling that, okay, you know what, don't bother me. That is what exactly the word comes for me also. So this is something that we see with Saturn in the fifth house. But as it comes to your what you saw, we can say, as it comes to anything that is responsibility, the fifth house Saturn is the first one to take responsibility of everything. When it comes to your children, when it comes to your parents, when it comes to your siblings, when everything, you will become extremely responsible. And the great part about Saturn here is that it is collaborative effort. That, you are, sorry to use the word, but such people can be people's pleaser, where they're trying to please other people by collaborating with them. But still, at least you are getting a little bit out of your comfort zone here. That is something very great. One thing with Saturn in the fifth house is sometimes when you talk about commitment, see, fifth house is also, the fulfillment of commitment. Second house is your speech, and fourth from the second is the fifth house, that is the fulfillment of speech. This is also where you get a little bit of trapped. With Saturn in the fifth house, you can commit something and then later you can regret that, why the hell did I tell them, now I have to do everything like this. So something that that kind of problem also happens with you, because this is a placement of beautiful Saturn. Saturn teaches everyone in this life. You can become a very good teacher. The teaching ability, the guiding, the counseling ability becomes very powerful, and the the advice that you give to other people can stay for a very long period of time, because the Saturn's clarity here is that Saturn is a planet of longevity. It will give you longevity of your idea. So your idea or your advice to other person will have a very long term effect on them. So that's why teaching is a very great option for Saturn in the fifth house. Sometimes here you will see that, you know risk is not your cup of tea, getting into risk or risky matters, because Saturn is a very slow planet. And if you want to make some money in your cryptocurrency, in stock market, then you have to have at least any aspect of a planet which is very fast, like Mercury, like Mars. Then it is much more advisable to invest into stock and share market, because here patience is not there, and secondly you need to have quick results. So Saturn gives you results only after 10, 12, 15 years of waiting. So if you want to invest here, invest into long term mutual funds or something that has to do with which matures in 15 years or 20 years. That is where you will actually get very good gains. Saturn is also related to here, the childbirth. Sometimes the childbirth can become very slow or delayed. Sometimes finding love in your seventh house is, or fifth house is romance. You know, finding love in your life can be very delayed. And once you find love, you become so loyally attached to that person that that person is going nowhere without you. That is the kind of placement of Saturn that we see here in the fifth house. Sometimes you will see that in this situation, the progeny, that means childbirth, happens with delay, or sometimes if Rahu or Ketu or any other malefic is associated here, then there can be possibility of doing IVF or getting IVF done. So do not lose hope if Saturn is in the fifth house. Try to go for some unorthodox method, like opposite of Saturn. You will start facing much better, getting much better results. Fifth house is also the house of mantra chanting. Saturn is absolutely and clearly associated with Lord Shiva, है ना, त्र्यंबकम यजामहि सुगंधिम पुष्टिवर्धनम उर्वारुकनिर्वंदना मृत्युर्मोक्षयमामृता. That means Saturn, the longevity is directly connected to Lord Shiva. So please give your prayers to Lord Shiva, and Om Namah Shivaya becomes a very important mantra for such people, or doing Kal Bhairav Ashtakam, doing Bhairav mantras, doing Shiva mantras, doing everything related to Lord Shiva is supposed to be done, so that your Saturn becomes very nice. In fact, you will see, you will connect to a mantra, some kind of mantra in your life, which may come from past lives, because Saturn here knows exactly everything from it, has memory of all the past lives here. That's why you slowly, it will come, it will uncover all the memories of the past life, because Saturn is a slow planet. But here you may know inherent insight that when you listen to a mantra or something like that, this is connected to me from years and from generations, from, we can say, from multiple lifetimes. I am associated with that kind of a mantra. Okay, I hope that I was able to give you a little bit of clarity about fifth house Saturn. And if it is so, just comment below, let me know where is your Saturn, fifth house, what kind of Saturn, what kind of results you get, who's associated, what about childbirth, what about education, was it break in education, was the education very smooth or education delayed, or sometimes you have to complete a course in 1 year, you have completed in 4 years. All these things I want to know, to add more and more to the research. Thank you so much. Have a great, wonderful, beautiful time. Do subscribe, comment. Your wishes, your good wishes are very, very great for me. Thank you. All the best. I will see you in next video. Bye bye. Sixth house of a horoscope. Now Saturn here is a very workaholic Saturn. See, Saturn is about all about hard labor, and sixth house is the house of that labor. Workaholic tendency is the first quality that you will see in yourself. You are going to be service oriented. One problem with Saturn into the sixth house is that you will have so many enemies in life, and you will be so slow to take action against those that they will come do the damage and go away from your life. And sometimes this is one very common thing to see with Saturn in the sixth house. You will keep working hard on something, someone else will come and eat the fruits and go away, and you will say, what the hell happened here? I did everything, now this person is getting rewarded for this. This is that kind of Saturn in the sixth house. Now, sixth house is also the house that is related to your daily routine. One good news about Saturn is very benefic here. Then there is possibility that you will be in a very great routine. You will be disciplined. You will be doing everything very nicely, taking care of your health on a very larger scale. But sometimes Saturn is also a planet that is Ayu Karaka. That means the planet of longevity. Here, it can come and show you the disease, the challenge that you may have, which may create problems in your longevity. So this Saturn gives you a very good what you say, signals, or some, it gives you, it shows you the ways that okay, these are the problems that can happen, this is where you need to take more care, this is the health problem that can happen, something like that. With Saturn in the sixth house, Saturn is a planet of service, Saturn is a planet of dedication, it is a planet of labor. So you may be very much connected to social reforms or social work, where you will show a lot of hard labor without expecting anything in return. So that is the great quality of people who have Saturn in the sixth house. Sometimes, because Saturn is in the sixth house and looking at the 12th house, you may associate with foreign people or foreigners or very unorthodox environment you come into, and then you adjust there. And also, not only you, but you bring other people also to your orthodox feelings or behavior. So it's not a good thing to say, but with Saturn in the sixth house, it's very good for you to become a missionary person who will change your mission in life or change your religion in life. So most of the conversion people who do conversion or who change people's identity is when Saturn is in the sixth house, because this is also related to the house of service. That means even in situations where you are a boss of a company, like you own a company with 100 employees, you will still work like a servant only there, because you feel that unless and until I serve this company or this place, this is not going to grow. So you will be the one who will be holding a broom and you saying, okay, let me just clean my office. Like, you will not say that I am a CEO of $1 million company. You will say, let me do whatever it takes, I will do everything. So that is the kind of devotion that you have towards your workplace, because Saturn, right, Saturn keeps you grounded. Saturn will keep you on that ground level. One thing that it is there, that sometimes with Saturn in the sixth house, a daily life is too busy, too fatigue oriented. Like, you've completely, at the end of the day, you say like this, that I'm done, I cannot work anymore, I cannot function. That is also what we see with Saturn in the sixth house. Very important detail here which we want to understand is that sixth house is the house of debts also. Debts. So if you take debt, there is a problem with Saturn in the sixth house. It may repay your debt very slowly. It may make you overcome your debt, but it may repay very slowly. So if those who have sixth house Saturn, or any aspect of Saturn on the sixth house, or any combination of Saturn on sixth house, they take debt, but they play very slowly. And sometimes there is possibility with Saturn here, because Saturn is in Dushtana in a sixth house, it is very comfortable here. Suddenly a big chunk come and you pay off everything. So that is also one very important thing that happens here. With Saturn in the sixth house, we will also see that this is the house that is related to your related to the love towards animals. And Saturn here says that you will love animals. There will be possibility that you will be very connected to some animal in your life. Maybe your spouse also can be your animal. Okay, so I feel that I am an animal for my wife. So that kind of uh, you know some kind of animal or some kind of pet, etc., comes to your life and really fills the void that you have, the isolation that you have is filled by that kind of a pet, or any kind of any external non-speaking animal. Sometimes here we will see that because it is the house that is related to enemies, enmity when created in Saturn Mahadasha Antardasha can remain for a very longer period of time. That's why suggestion, those who have Saturn in the sixth house should not get into court cases, because otherwise it will take a very long time to finish that case. Like it's going to be going on, and you finally lose interest into it. So Saturn in the sixth house, tactically try to work things out outside of court. That is how I see here. Sometimes when we look here, the overall personality of people with Saturn in the sixth house is a very duty bound lifestyle. It is always correct. You are on a holiday, you will be looking for garbage that let me pick it up and throw it somewhere, because you have that ability of doing service. You cannot, you are the person, if there is any party happening, anything, you will say, can I cook something, can I bring something, can I do something? You are that kind of person who are devoted to everyone else's problem, and that's why you get into final fatigue, that okay, dull, done, I'm done with it. With sixth house aspecting Saturn, aspecting the eighth house, the 12th house and the third house, your effort becomes very, very powerful. Here is that you will, when you will take a decision that I want to do this, and by hook or by crook, then you are able to accomplish it. It's very good for competition. Also remember, in the competition, remember the story of the rabbit and the tortoise. Tortoise wins because they have patience, they know how to go about it. Same way with Saturn in the sixth house, that is, you are the story of the, that turtle, that tortoise. You will win. It may take, someone may go ahead and sit, but finally you will reach the destination much powerfully and much sooner than their expectation. Okay, all the very best. I hope that it gives you a little bit of insight about how to look at Saturn in the sixth house. If you have this placement, do comment below, let me know what kind of results it is giving you. Is it giving you some different results? Is it in combination with other planets? Then it is a different story altogether. Then it can be different multiple ways to look at it. But overall, this is my analysis for Saturn. How it looks here, about this, everything that I have done is we're talking to people only like you, that okay, what happened with Saturn here, okay, what happened with here. Then I keep writing, making notes in my head, in my book. Okay, all the very best. Have a great, wonderful time. Do subscribe. There is a WhatsApp link in the description for personal appointments. For that, also, we will see you there if you want to talk about your birth chart. And bye for now. Moving to the seventh house of a horoscope. In seventh house of a horoscope, Saturn really gets very powerful. It is Digbala placement of Saturn. Now we consider Saturn as a planet of sorrow, planet of struggle, planet of stress. But many people with seventh house Saturn, see, it is Digbala, that means it becomes strong. That means the sorrow provider becomes very strong. The challenges become very strong. But the power to overcome them is also there. So whatever biggest to biggest challenges may come to your life, you will have the power to overcome this as well. Now, the common thing that we see with the seventh house is related to marriage, partnership, marriage. Here, with Saturn coming into such situation, can always discuss, or we can say, about delayed marriage, something to do with getting spouse who's mature, something like, even if you are like, many cases is where you are born, example 1981, your spouse can be 1974. Like there will be difference of age gap between you and your spouse. Sometimes there is also a possibility that the spouse may be younger, but they may be like too mature. It's called old soul. With Saturn here, this is a placement of partners. Like if you know someone with Saturn here and you want to do a partnership with them, you should absolutely close your eyes and do partnership with them, because the reason is that they will have the maximum level of contractual loyalty. You will always see that these people will never ever try to cheat you. When it comes to marriage, there are multiple different conditions to be seen, because Saturn is a malefic. Here it can be a very difficult Saturn in the seventh house for marriage. But when it comes to contract, to do something righteous related to business, etc., yes, absolutely, because these people will also be extreme hardworking. Understand, it is sitting 10th from the 10th. That means this shows that this person are actually dedicated in their work. You will see that, especially with seventh house Saturn, many people will come to your life only for, we can say, karmic relationship, pattern. Like somewhere who's coming to your life, you do certain karma for someone, they go away from your life. You do certain karma for someone, they go away from it. So detachment also happens with partners here. Very temporary, short-term partnerships also are seen when it is related to seventh house. Now, Saturn is a planet of longevity. We know it will do everything long term, but because the Saturn only works around karma, understand the story which I told in the beginning. It is about how Yama gave Saturn the power to, take finally. Once the karma is done, take the life away. That's exactly what Saturn and Yama had a, what is agreement. Here with Saturn, you will see that these people with seventh house Saturn will be a little bit of isolated when it comes to social name and fame. They will be the one doing all the hard work behind it, but they will never ever claim, what do you say, fame and name, that okay, this I did this. Never. This I word will not come here. And because it is a seventh house is the house of alliances, you will see that secret partnerships happen here. You may partner someone secretly, like for example, you're working with a company. Suddenly your friend will say, I am doing a startup. You will say, okay, you know what, I will support you in this situation secretly, don't tell anyone that I'm doing it. So that kind of alliances is what we see here with Saturn in the seventh house. Now, while Saturn is a planet related to hard work and justice and whatnot, this is a very great placement for those people who are thinking of law as their profession. Law, lawyers, justice providers, something that has to do with something. They are, instructors, someone who's giving you final clearance that, okay, this is what you like. Some people who give licenses to other people. This is a very great placement of Saturn for that kind of stuff. Now, because Saturn is here, remember, wherever Saturn will come, there will be some sorrow related to that house. I have Saturn in the fourth house, I also have sorrow. Everyone will have sorrow when Saturn is there. Now, here the sorrow mostly will be related to your spouse or your relationship. Something we are not able to fulfill or not able to live up to the expectations. Either two ways possible. Either your spouse is not able to live up to the expectation, or you are not live up to the expectation. And because Saturn is a planet of separative tendencies, coldness, we can say very isolated, so there can be also divorce and separation if Saturn is in the seventh house under lot of cases. See, the karaka, the significator of the seventh house is always and always Venus. But Saturn being a malefic, coming and becoming direct, like Digbal, getting directional strength here, makes a very big difference here. Now, sometimes you will also see that in the like seventh house, when we go into more depth of the house, it is also related to your intimate life, your sexual life. It may not be that great, or with over time you may become asexual. You may not have that feelings. Your more feelings will be towards service or towards getting rewards from service. Remember this. You don't want name and fame. You want appreciation. This is the appreciation area of Saturn, because it is second from the sixth house. This says that appreciation is what we are thriving for. And when Saturn is here, if in business partnership, when it comes to work, it is Saturn, it is superb. Then it shows that Digbala power, that okay, it will be for a very long term. You will have no challenges, no issues. So it will be for a long, long, long time here. Now, because it is, this house is also about the public reputation, that how publicly, and Saturn shows that you're going to be a very disciplined person in the public scenario. So when it comes to your home, you may be lazy, sitting on the bed, does not care about anything. But when it comes to your social presence, you show that you are very mature, very diplomatic, very say very learned, very patient. That is what it will show in the social circle for you. Now remember, this is the 12th house from the 8th house. When we see this placement, it shows that sometimes in this situation, there is also isolation with in-laws, or because of in-laws, there can be some coldness between you and them. And it is 11th from the 9th house. The more the education, the more power that you will see, the more success you will see in your life. With 10th from the 10th, whenever Saturn will come into your Mahadasha, Antardasha, Pratyantardasha, there will be changes in your career. There can be possibility that there is higher growth. And depending on your Saturn, if it is very worst condition, then it will always take away your status as well. So it depends on how it is supposed to be. And when it comes to the most important house, that is the 11th house of your gains, Saturn is sitting exactly ninth. You will see that foreigners, people from foreign countries, have associated with you, or someone, you were born in some state, someone born in a different state, you come into collaboration with that person, and suddenly your destiny starts working. So very powerful. Because Saturn is in the 7th house and 8th from the 12th house, this is one thing that we need to be careful about, and that is health, especially genitals. Those people who have Saturn in this placement, for women, there are problems like fibroids. There is problem like sometimes uterus is completely removed. For male people, it is a problem related to prostate, or sometimes impotency related to we can say that the sperm and the eggs of the female and male do not have that much fertility rate, is because of Saturn. See, Saturn is the planet of longevity, it wants to give you death. Finally, Saturn is the one that decides, okay, this person is going to die. Venus is the planet that gives you life. So in this situation, Venus is the one that has to, that is why Venus is the karaka, the significator of seventh house. With being exactly opposite lagna, this means that this is a mirror. Like Saturn looks at you, and you from outside, people will look that this person is very disciplined, very powerful, very what you say, very straightforward, that kind of feeling. Now here we have to understand one more important thing, and that is related to the second. It is always workplace that will make you comfortable, nothing else will make you comfortable. It is sixth from the second house. As long as these people I have seen with seven in the seventh house, I have one in my house. If they have good money in the bank, they are very happy. Once they do not have it, they will go crazy and they will become their own enemy. That is one thing. And because it is fifth from the third house, you will see that communication or creativity will come slow, but when it comes, it is going to be so long lasting that will create legacy for you for a very, very long time. And since it is fourth from the fourth, there may be possibility that you may get property in your life. You may be able to make a property in your life, and it will be happening between 4th house and 7th house Mahadasha. Whenever 4th house and 7th house Mahadasha will be on, you will see that you do a karma related to property, because Saturn also puts the 10th aspect on the 4th house here. So there is a lot of karma related to making a property, buying a property. Sometimes you do not buy a property till the time you are married or till the time you have a partner. That is also one thing that we see here. And it is little bit of placement of struggle for the kids, and I also struggle for producing kids is what we see, because it is third from the fifth house. So delays in kids, struggle, sometimes challenges. Sometimes you want to make sure that my whole life is in sets, get settled, then we will try to get that means delays in those areas as well. And because it is second from the sixth, you will always see that there is victory over enemies. Slowly enemies will come to life, but victory will come. And judicially, this is a very great placement. If Saturn is here, no one can do your no one can do wrong to you. So this is my analysis of Saturn in the seventh house of a birth horoscope. I hope that you found it a little bit of uh, you know akin to your chart. So if that, let me know in the comments below. Do let me know what kind of relationship your Saturn makes. Who is Saturn sitting with? Is there any kind of combination? There any kind of aspect? What is Saturn debilitated, exalted? Then we'll be giving more and more idea about it. All the very best. Do comment below, and there is a WhatsApp link for personal appointments, and do subscribe. We are also on Instagram, where I do small remedies, so you can follow on AC2 channel. Thank you. Take care. Now moving to the eighth house. This is the house where Saturn is the significator of this house, the eighth house of longevity. Now understand, Saturn here does not want to kill you. It wants to give you long life. But remember, as soon as we are born, the birth happens, and we can say, we are into a scenario where we are struggling. After birth, immediately we will start struggling, challenges, health problems, trying food, desire to do this, that, because that is what life is all about. It is all about how we have come here to suffer, or to suffer, and then to end that suffering, we need to get spiritually evolved and then go away from this life. Now Saturn, when come into this house, it first indicates a very great and long life. Even association of Saturn with 8th house in any sense, or Jupiter, it says long life. That is what it is. Now here, other than longevity, it is a very important thing to see that when Saturn is from here, it is looking at the 10th house, it is looking at the second house, and it is looking at the fifth house. So majority of the second and the fifth house related to finances are looked by Saturn. That means there will be delays in Saturn, because look, if it is looking there, there will be delays in terms of we can say wealth. Also, now understand, Saturn wants to give you longevity. That means in early days, when you are 30s and 40s, it may give you some very chronic or critical illness, sometimes even very deadly illness. People may say it is terminal, but it will be chronic, and you will be able to overcome it, because Saturn has come here to promise that I will give you long life, so don't worry about it. If any problem like that comes, you will overcome it. So sometimes Saturn in the 8th house can give you very bad, I cannot even name such diseases, bad diseases, but then you overcome it over time. Now, you will also see that this house is very connected to occult and deep research and whatnot. And Saturn present here, this means that your Vayu, your Ayu, your breath is all controlled by the 8th house now. So breathing, drinking, eating, sleeping, you will be connected to the spiritual self, or there may be your subconscious mind is too active. When we look at Saturn in the eighth house, subconscious mind is very active. It always wants to explore occult, always wants to explore psychological, always wants to be investigative. You will become an investigator, that I want to go to the depth of this. How long has it been going from? Very great placement for medical professionals, especially homeopathy. I have so many homeopathic doctors, mostly Saturn in the eighth house, because they want to dig in the past. They want to go to understand that, okay, how far along this problem is coming on. So very important for those people. Someone who's also in medical research or research, very great placement, because in this situation you are able to connect yourself to the problem, that when it started and how it can end. Because Saturn wants to make, and especially those who are working on life sciences, very good. Those who are working for understanding chronic illnesses, very great, because here Saturn has the ability to drag, like dragging things which is for a long time. Saturn can give closure to them also as well, that okay, this is the karmic pattern, this has to end now. Saturn is all about endings. Remember this. Saturn is longevity, but it finally decides, okay, this is where it ends. So these people are supposed to end misery in other people's life also. That's why when we talk about Saturn in the sixth house, such people can become very good psychologists, because they can end a long lasting problem immediately. When it comes to counseling, very great placement of Saturn. Now, with Saturn, who's always, the character in your birth chart related to lineages, this is also the chart of inheritance. If Saturn is here, there may be possible that you get inheritance from your grandfathers, from your in-laws as well. In-laws and grandfather is where you will get your inheritance from. Sometimes your father, you and your father's relationship is not that great, very cold, because it is 12th from the ninth house. So it is a challenge. One important aspect of Saturn in the ninth house is related to fear. Saturn is a planet that gives fear of heights. When you go to very high places where air is less, fear. So adventure should be avoided related to high places. That's what my suggestion is. Eighth house is naturally the house that tells about deep oceans of our, right? So some people can feel depressed also when Saturn is in the eighth house, because it is a very isolated placement. First of all, eighth house is isolation and deep spiritual upbringing, we can say, or spiritual emotions. And on top of that, Saturn comes there, which is more cold planet. So it takes you towards very much depth. And such people can become introverts. They may not be able to express themselves very quickly. Now, because here Saturn is a planet that can also cause pain for giving you longevity, so surgeries, anything that has to do with more of accidents, which can give you long-term effects. It will not kill you, but give you long-term challenges related to that, is what Saturn does here. Sometimes, because this is also the house of taxation and anything, and Saturn is here, you should be very careful about your tax, because it will not do something from now, it will do from past. It will tell 10 years ago you did this problem, now come here, I am here now, give me the report. So somehow Saturn can give you such problems as well. Remember, eighth house is connected to your lineage. This birth that has happened, if Saturn is in the eighth house, that means it is something to do with something very mystical that is supposed to happen. You are supposed to complete a cycle of some very big karma that is pending in your family, and you are supposed to finish that. That is the exact reason of Saturn's you getting birth in the eighth house Saturn. One good thing about this placement is that morally you are very aware, but Saturn, if it is aspected by malefic or any malefic, then it can give you some very lifelong disaster results, like some kind of molestation, some kind of problems in the childhood which cannot be expressed, some kind of sexual pervertness in your life which created a very big impact on your longevity. Anything that is related to fear comes in your mind, and longevity, it stays long life in your life, long in your life. That is how exactly it happens. Such people, it is very good for morality awareness. They are very moral, very good for freedom fighters, very good for advocacy, very good for social work, very good for someone who wants to really hire someone. I would suggest Saturn in the eighth house, looking at the 10th house with the third aspect. They will give their blood, their sweat for the work that they do. You will be absolutely devoted to your work, and you will say, nothing above my work is what I need to do in this lifetime. So they may be secretive, but when it comes to the work pattern, it is unbelievable passion that you will show in work. Now Saturn here is sitting second from the seventh house. Sometimes in this cases, inheritance wise from the money from the spouse also comes. So if by chance you are in a relationship, it did not work out and you're getting breakup, then there is possibility great money from the spouse party can come up. There is also possibility that here partnership, those who are in partnership business can earn a lot of money. Unless and it is afflicted, I cannot say, because every chart is very unique and different. But mostly if Saturn is here, you get a lot of money from your shared resources. And they have secret money also. Secret money, you have a habit of saving money secretly. That is also what Saturn can do. Like somewhere, like these are the people. I have a cousin who has Saturn in the eighth house. Whenever when we were young, she was getting any money, she used to roll it and put it in wallet some different place, that I don't have any money, I don't have any money. They're miser also, they don't want to spend too much. That is also what Saturn does here. With the aspect of Saturn on the second house, there is possibility that accumulation of wealth is slow, but it is there. You are going to be, when it is needed, you will say, I have the money. That is what exactly you will show here. Understand one important thing, that this is the eighth house is the karma bhav for the 11th house. That means it shows that in social circle you should be a very important factor. You will be the one, if there is a social event, you will be the running here and there doing all the stuff. Like the labor class will be you only in that place, even if you own that place. That is how powerful Saturn works here in the eighth house. One more important aspect about Saturn in the eighth house is about your secrecy. The more secret you will keep, the more better it is. The more innocently you will reveal your secrets, you will not be able to receive any benefit of that work that you're doing. You will always see that whenever I will tell someone my work just starts suffering, that is because of the Saturn in the eighth house. So try to be as secretive as you can. Okay, all the very best. I hope that I was able to give you a little bit of idea about how your Saturn in the eighth house works and what is it all about. You have a long life, so enjoy your life. There can be critical illnesses, sometimes surgery, etc., but don't worry about it. It is all good. But it is all good because it has to, life is like this only. The body is very, very external, the soul is internal. This is also the house of moksha. It's Saturn here makes you extremely focused on spirituality. You will not be a religious person. You will not show off that I am doing Ram Ram and I am doing going to church every Sunday. No. But this is placement where deep down you have the desire of service. You have the desire of, so what do you say? You happiness will come mostly from sacrificing your happiness. Very simple. Once you sacrifice your happiness will be coming there. That is what Saturn in the eighth house, what I feel happens. All the very best. I hope that you comment below, let me know where your Saturn is, what kind of results you're getting, what not, and then we will discuss about different aspects of Saturn in your life. And I want to know that if it is sitting with a malefic, any accident happened, any Saturn Mahadasha, Antardasha, Pratyantardasha, what are the things that you're experiencing? Are you so connected to occult? Do you want to practice occult? Are you trying to learn occult but it is happening slowly in your life? I want to know everything here down, so that this will give me a clear idea about how to look at your Saturn next time when I see some charts. All the very best. Have a great time. Do subscribe. There is a WhatsApp link in the description for personal appointments, and there is Instagram AC Astro channel. Here also you can, follow, so that I'll do small remedies there sometimes. Thank you. Moving to the ninth house. Let's come to the ninth house of a horoscope and Saturn. So ninth house is not the actual Marana Karakasthana that is written in text, but I feel that it is a Marana Karakasthana for Saturn, because there are few things which I have come across in many birth charts which clears that there is some problem here. When Saturn comes to the ninth house, if it is in a malefic state, then there is a lot of problem with father. There can be a lot of differences, and especially if Saturn is 17 degrees and below, then it give you a lot of trouble with father, challenges. Sometimes it also says that separation from father at a very young age. Also it says that separation from the ideology of father. Your father will have different ideology, you will have different ideology. Such people, father or parents, especially father side, they can be very dominating over them, that you need to do this only. I was a lawyer, you become a lawyer only. You have to become a painter. But this Saturn can sometimes create that kind of problem. Ideally the ninth house is a written way by Parashara and everything. The Marana Karakasthana is for Rahu, but Rahu is just like Saturn. Parashara himself only says that Kujavat Ketu, Rahuvat Shani. That means Rahu and Shani are same, and Ketu and Mars are same. They have the same results. So I feel that it is a question mark only, but I feel that Saturn's Marana Karakasthana can be in the ninth house as well. Because see, it can give you a lot of things which are orthodox. And So many things which are orthodox, but many more things which are unorthodox. Saturn coming here, afflicting your yeah, Saturn is a malefic. Parashara says Saturn is Papa Graha, malefic. So that means we have to understand and realize that, okay, if a sage like Parashara is saying that Saturn is malefic and Papa Graha, then it is a Papa Graha. Sometimes the reason is that we want comfort. Saturn is a planet that comes us to shake the comfort in our life. When it comes to the ninth house, you will see that philosophically, which is a very difficult place for Saturn to be, either you will convert yourself into a different religion, either there is possibility you will stop following your religion, either there is a possibility that you will have no faith in religion at all. You will be absolutely Gnostic. You will be more spiritual person, more practical person rather than a religious person. I have I know someone with Saturn in the ninth house, very close family friend. When we talk about religion, he will talk all rubbish because he has Saturn in the eighth house with Rahu. Rahu and Saturn conjunction. So these people are completely rigidly saying that religion is all stupidity, God is all stupid, depending. So this Saturn can make you very orthodox. Sometimes these are the people who become suicide bombers. Like they will say, "For my religion, I will die. I will, you know what you say, give myself away." Or there can be possibility if Saturn is not very, you know what you say, great in your chart, then you will be, you know what you say. If Saturn is great in your chart, then there is possibility that you will be a little bit of more optimistic when it comes to your religion or religious beliefs. With Saturn in the ninth house, Saturn is a planet of delays. And sometimes in this situation, what happens is that there is a very common thing for Saturn to do here. Saturn comes to the ninth house, either it will delay your education, higher education. That means after bachelor's, you will have a 2-3 year gap and then you will do your master's. And there also it will do some delays, or either you will not be able to complete your education. And the third area which I have seen and I have confirmed is that either you will learn something like you learn electric engineering, but you are doing software work later. So it will bring you to a different focus altogether. That is what I have seen with Saturn in the third house. Now, sorry, in the ninth house. Now, because Saturn is aspecting the third house, your effort also becomes slow. So this means that this is a part where Saturn gets Maranakaraka. It does not let you do too much, take too much effort or too much risk. This is a placement where you don't take too much risk. Yeah, when it comes to the professions that you can choose, then there can be very ethical oriented profession like teaching, something that is for a very long time you'll become a teacher, a mentor, something that has to do with more of law and judicial, you become a lawyer, you become a judge for a very long time. Your philosophy, your words do carry a very long term meaning. That is what exactly your placement of Saturn tells us about. Now, because this is also the house of ethical thinking, ethical, this is a very ethical placement of Saturn. Such people with Saturn in the ninth house will never ever cheat anyone. That is one beautiful thing about Saturn. Unless until Rahu comes here, then you have tricks to cheat, but otherwise Saturn is a very generous, god fearing, or karma fearing planet here in this house. When we see, there is possibility that wherever you are born, Saturn may take you to a very distant place from here, a cold place or very distant place where you will be out of your caste, out of your culture, out of your landscape, out of your food habits, because Saturn here gives you experience of different planes altogether. It will tell you that let's take experience of this place also. The multiple shifting is what happens. And sometimes that the key becomes the higher education. Like as soon as the higher education, like if you see and close your eyes and think about it, 80 to actually no 90% plus charts that I have seen, or you must have seen, or you are, if you see, mostly people do relocate only around the scenario of their higher education. They go for study in Australia, they stay in Australia. They go for study in UK, they stay in UK. They go for study in US, they go in US. They go for come to Canada. So there is a lot of things which relates to the ninth house. And ninth house, I feel, according to my you know क्या बोलते हैं, my idea, I feel the ninth house activates exactly when we are at 27 years of age. That is my suggestion. So see here, 3 12 are 36 where Saturn gets mature. So 1 2 3 4 9 threes are 27. So 27 years of age when ninth house becomes activate. And ninth house becomes activate here is the period where we go to abroad for higher studies. So something that has to do with long distance, persistent, or something where you go for long distance and stay there for a very long time is what Saturn shows here. In fact, this is one good placement of Saturn where you learn something from your guru, you never forget it. You will continuously use it for the rest of your life. That is exactly how Saturn in the ninth house can also do to you. Now let's come on the orthodox side of Saturn. Now here, when we talk about Saturn in orthodox area, it is very orthodox when it comes to cultural realm. When you realize that this is your culture, you never ever go away from that culture. You will follow all the traditions also very nicely. I'm telling you, it has to be seen in your birth chart that it is in proper Marana Karaka, and properly very bad in placed here or very good place. If good placed here, then you will see that you will be, you know, culturally very very connected to your roots. Also, when we talk about wisdom, this is the house where sun gives the wisdom, so here it takes the wisdom of the king. In fact, this is also the house of your bosses. Sometimes you will see that your bosses are very strict, or they are very old school. They are coming from a place where they are talking old school things, that okay, use this method only to move forward. That is also what we can see. Always remember, first house is you, fifth house is your subordinates, that means your servants, or you can say, we can, or the people who report to you, and the ninth house is the superiors for your life. Saturn is coming here, you are a servant already, but the superior will be too old school, because Saturn signifies, represents that older person to you. In your father, the main reason between you and your father's rift is sometimes old school. That father is old school, telling all old related items, which is not working in the current scenario. That is something that you see with Saturn in the ninth house. Now somehow, because this is related to foreign country, Saturn is a very good planet when it comes to go to a foreign country and settle. If you go to foreign country and settle, this is going to be a, you will get a boost in your life altogether. And the spirituality or the religion, etc., that comes to you is of logic based. You will not follow foolishness. That is exactly what Saturn in the ninth house means. Now, because Saturn aspects the 11th house, that is the third aspect, you put a lot of effort in the social circle to shine. That is one thing that you will see. And sometimes, because Saturn's third aspect, you will be very hesitant to speak up or to communicate in a very large groups. That is something that we see Saturn putting the aspect on the third house, which means that sometimes effort, long-term effort will give you results. Short-term effort will not give you anything. And Saturn looking at the sixth house means no enemy in this world will be able to overcome your righteousness. So you are a fighter, you will be a fighter, and you will make superb connection related to law and order. You will have friends in law and order and all this kind of stuff, which will be very powerful for you. Now with Saturn coming here, and Saturn exactly 12th from the workplace, it also says that second confirmation, that it also said work at a foreign place will be much more easy and much more sustainable for you. With Saturn exactly 10th from the 12th house, again it says that this is the karma bhumi of the 12th house. That means you will be able to be very comfortable and get completely accomplished, what we call, you will completely accumulatize, so bad, see my English, accumulatize in the foreign environment is what we can see here. With Saturn here, it is not a great placement for father in your relationship. That is what I've seen, because the karak of this of this ninth house is Saturn. And with Saturn here, which is exactly ninth from the lagna, you have come here to your body, your mind, your soul has come here to experience something very extraordinary, where this is a step in your life, or this is that life that you have got, not a moksha karaka planet Saturn for you. It is a life that you have got to understand the reality, the real truth of spirituality, the real truth of service in your life. And the education that you get, the higher education that you get, will bring you towards the next life, or maybe the life after that, where you are absolutely on the verge of moksha. So Saturn comes here to give you higher learning. You will see that money after a point of time will not matter for you. Learning will matter. You will always be in seek of knowledge. Saturn was a seeker. In the whole childhood, Saturn seeked love, because his father love not there, mother sometimes there, sometimes not there. The mother is playing such a role, such a dedicated role, that she's taking care of Saturn also, but taking care of Yama and Yamuni also. So Yamuna also. So much it was happening related to Saturn's life. Saturn, that's why became very isolated. Same way, in this situation, you have not come here for money. You have come here for higher learning, some growth, some powerful, what you call, some powerful. Uh, we can say enlightenment. Slow enlightenment, it can happen to the end of your life, but it will happen. Enlightenment will come to you. Okay. All the very best. This is my little bit of analysis. I'm sorry I got too excited. I think my blood pressure went up. I can feel it, blood rushing. But yeah, I feel that you are getting some idea about how Saturn in the ninth house behaves according to my eyes. Huh? It is not whatever text is written, they may write whatever they want. But this is my real life experience where I've been talking to so many people and trying to understand that why this Saturn is behaving for this person also like this, for this person also like this. There may be different combinations, associations, we can say aspects, nakshatra, conjunction, so many things, trilliums. But Saturn on an overall level will first give you this results, then it will start taking effect of other people, because it is very difficult for Saturn to adjust with other people. Other people may want to adjust with Saturn, but Saturn will never ever adjust with other people. So first Saturn will show its own traits, then it will tell other people that now show your traits. All the best. Do subscribe. Thank you so much. There is a WhatsApp link in the description for personal appointments as well. And we are on Instagram. We do small videos there where we talk about remedies and some good things. So if you want to follow, you are welcome. I will also feel nice. Thank you. Let's go to the 10th house, the Karma Bhava. Now, the 10th placement of Saturn is just like, I call it, like, with my experience, I call it the most labor position of Saturn. It will make you work so hard that it is going to be crazy. When Saturn is in the 10th house, the whole karma bhav becomes very, very, and it shows that your birth has happened but working very hard. You will not be able to sit at one place in one time. No, it is not possible. Your books, your journals will be full of tasks, that this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. And if you don't have that, then you will not be able to succeed. With Saturn in the 10th house, the number one thing is the coordination of your hand and your book. You have to make sure everything is written down very nicely, which I have seen with many of my clients also doing with Saturn in the 10th house. And I've advised them, so many of them, that, the work is not happening, this is not good, my things are not growing. I said, have you made a task about how to go about your life, how to go about 10 a.m., 11 a.m.? Because Saturn is a taskmaster. It wants to have everything scheduled. So schedule your life, schedule your days. That's how you will be able to have success. Now, with Saturn in the 10th house, we will also say that this is a placement where wherever Saturn sits, it gives longevity related to that area of your life. And here it is sitting in the career. So these people do not retire. There is a possibility that this Saturn will keep making you work till the last few years, like before the last few years of your life. So very long working is one thing that we see. With Saturn here, your public reputation is very great. Someone who is actually connected to you, someone who's actually rely on you, even if when certain time comes when they don't want to be associated with you, they will go away from your life, but later they will again come back to you. That is the dependence of Saturn in the 10th house. When Saturn is in the 10th house and you are an employee in some place, the employer will do everything possible for you to not go, because they know the importance that this person is the hardworking person, this person who can make things happen. So very powerful. In fact, with Saturn in the 10th house, if you want to get into administrative positions in the government, then that's also a very great placement for Saturn. If Saturn is here, then think that, okay, administration position in the government can be achieved by me in a very nicer way. When we look at 10th house, it is also the house of power and social status. The more and power and social status for you comes from justice oriented work. That means work that really needs very very extreme thinking or extreme judgment is where you will see you are getting success. Now, 10th house is the house of father also. Like, it is not the house of father, but it is the house of expectations of father. Now, because Saturn is here, sometimes because the expectation of father, the expectation that you have can be completely different. And Saturn is a planet of separative tendency. So there may be difference of opinion between you and your father's thoughts, and which can lead to a little bit of rift between you guys also. So there is one thing that is possible. If Saturn is very malefic, then it is possible. If Saturn is very benefic, then you will go toward the path of your father only. That whatever father says, okay, yes, this is the right thing, let's go here only. So something related to that can also be seen. Now, because this Saturn, I told you about professional longevity, Many people I have seen with Saturn in this placement that working in one company for 18 years, 12 years, 15 years, 17 years, like long time, 25 years, 40 years I worked in this place and now I'm taking retirement. That is the kind of Saturn in the 10th house. Now, with Saturn here, there may be one common thing that you must have noticed about yourself. You may be a boss of the company, or you may be you're the lowest, we can say the lowest top down management. You will see that you are the one responsible. It does not matter who is with you or no. You are the one responsible. Anyone also does mistake, everything will come on your face that okay, you are the one, you should taken care of this. You should. So everything comes into center for you. The the maximum hard work in your organization you will see visible will be you, that you will be a donkey. In the morning I was talking to one of my very favorite clients. She told me this word that Saturn in the 10th house makes you donkey. So here you become kind of donkey, completely working day and night, don't know when there is break, when there is no break, no time for anything, ambition. Because in this lifetime you have been given the the role, the karma bhav, the karma pati lord, that is Saturn, has come to this house to say that okay, there is nothing except occupation and work. You have to work. In fact, one great thing about your work is that you are going to be an ethical worker, because Saturn is an ethical planet. So work wise we are very ethical, and whatever you start, if you even start a business, that will have a very long life. So very beautiful. For I feel that these people, I have a librarian who has Saturn. She quit her job, everything, and she started a library, and she is doing so well in life. She has so much great, because see, this longevity, right, the longevity of the knowledge is never ending, so it is always there. So she chose a profession like, you know library. Then there is a person I know with 10th house Saturn. Yeah, that person is from Australia. He is into business related to what we say, क्या बोलते हैं उसको यार, कपड़ा, um, some kind of textile, textile business. He's into textile business. They make the curtains and all that they hang, right? See, the curtains we take long. See the longevity of the curtain. Our shirt will get torn and all. He making curtain long life, long life. So if you want to do business when Saturn is in the 10th house, you should think about businesses that are going to be for a very long time. Tattoo artist. Do you know this tattoo is related to Saturn? Now, if you do tattoo, just see the longevity of the tattoo, that will be there forever in your life. After you die, also the tattoo is not going away. So, businesses or work that provides longevity or has the longevity quotient in them, that is the kind of business that you should be choosing when Saturn is in the 10th house. Now, here this also says that there is a great possibility of bureaucratic mastery that you will have, and also leadership will come, but it will come through lot of. So, even leadership does not come, by the way. I will come to leadership, but still there will be social hierarchy. You may be an intern in your office, but your CEO will talk to you that okay, come here and tell me what is this. That is the kind of Saturn, that this Saturn is, because here you are already learned and mature, and you have gone to an occupational place where you are now just supposed to unwind yourself that okay, this is what I am. So overall, Saturn in the 10th house is a donkey, which make you work crazy with a whip, work, and the rewards are also slow, but that is some karmic pattern. I always say to people who have Saturn in the 10th house that you did not work very hard in your previous life. Now you have come here to work hard, take all responsibilities. I'm telling you, every responsibility for your home also, because it is aspecting your fourth house, it is aspecting the 12th house, it is aspecting the seventh house. So your spouse responsibility on you, your children responsibility on you, your mother father responsibility on you, your any expenses that is happening in the house, everyone will come to you only that okay, there's expenses, give me money. So you will go crazy that what the hell is happening in my life, and that is only because Saturn is here to teach you that you are meant to do this. It is not like there's a choice. It is, you have to do it. There is no way you can go out of it. So I hope that this Saturn in the 10th house has given you a little bit of insight about how you should look at your your chart or your Saturn placement here. If this is here, don't even need to go to astrologer. You just close your eyes and keep working very hard. There is nothing to do, only work, and you need to have a schedule. If you have a schedule, if you follow a schedule, then you will be successful, or otherwise no. Because Saturn is putting the aspect on the 12th house here from the 10th house. um, Focusing your energy in foreign countries or towards foreign projects is going to bring you maximum success in life. So try to focus lot of your strategy related to foreign or far distant places. That is where you will get your success. All the very best. Have a great beautiful time. There is a WhatsApp link in the description for personal appointments, and do subscribe. There is a Instagram channel where I do small remedies, so if you support there also, I will feel nice. Thank you. Moving to the 11th house of horoscope. Now, when Saturn comes to the 11th house, and 11th house is the house of your social circle. And social circles. Also, it is the house of maturity. The maturity means the house of maturity of your income. Like, is income going to come in salary, or is income going to come in large amounts? Like somewhere where you're doing much. Who does a business? Mature people do business. And who does not do a business? All the people who are not, mature or very strong enough to take bold decisions, they do jobs. Now, it does not mean that I'm demeaning a job or a business going person, but it is all the capability. Someone must be having some very secret in their chart that this is the business they do, they will really make it in their life. But to identify that, so many factors are there, but I suggest that mostly business comes from more of uh, courage. Because you know that next month can be, everyone can get money except me. That is where business is. With 11th house Saturn and house of gains, the gains become slow. Your incomes become stable. There is going to be constant income that is coming, but your gains, that massive gains, are not possible. Only in the area where you will see that someone from an older social circle, someone from older friends, or mentor, guru kind of people from your social circle will come to your life and change your life into a complete different scenario altogether. If you have 11th house Saturn, understand that the person, any person who's coming with white hair, white beard, or someone who's old enough or done so much experience in their career or in their profession, they will be the one guiding you to the right path. You will see that this is a very great placement for those people who are doing partnership, by the way, because Saturn is sitting fifth from the seventh house. That means you will be very creative partner to them, very reliable partner to them. So if your Saturn is in the 11th house, you want to start some partnership business, then this is a very great idea here. In fact, if you look here, Saturn is looking at the with the 10th aspect on the 8th house. That means any idea or any movement that you will start in a group or for a group, it will have a very long effect in the universe. So these are the people who can start institutions, something that turns out to be very big, but there needs to be some kind of social quotient towards it, some kind of benefit for the masses to it. That's, if you have that idea, then you are actually game here. Very beautiful aspect, placement of Saturn. Humanitarian effort is the layer of your success. Anything that you do, if you connect it to humanitarian effort, you know that, okay, if I am doing this, and how is it going to help other people? If that is the motive, then this people who have Saturn in the 11th house can do multi-billion dollar business, not million, billion dollar business, because they have cracked it. They have cracked the nerve of the Saturn, that Saturn wants here to show effort that will help humanitarian reasons. Now, because Saturn is here and Saturn is old and wise, so obviously old and wise people are very influential. So you will get lot of influential mentors. And because Saturn is here, and you may be also be very mature to lead a group. So those people who have Saturn in the 11th house can always be group leaders, can be person who are taking care of a very larger group. Maybe in office, you are at that managerial level where you have 30, 40 people under you who needs your guidance constantly. That is the kind of thing that you see. Now, this is also the house of friendships, but here this is Saturn is an isolated planet. You will have friends, but not like I honestly, myself, I have like me more than 300, 400 friends, like real friends, like everyone who's in touch with me every time. So for you will be two, three, four people, because it's isolated, right? Two, three, four people who want to be, what you say, who want to be, you will only, very strategic friendship you will have. You will not waste their time, they will not waste your time. So that is the kind of friendship that you will have. And because Saturn is here, and if you want to really, really progress in life, you need to have a small sheet in front of you with the long term goal written and the ways to accomplish it. Saturn will say, okay, long term goal is this, because 11th house is anything that has to do with long term goals. But now, what are the ways how I'm going to accomplish that goal comes from Saturn's, this lead that we write that, okay, I am going to become a doctor in next 5 years. I am going to become a lawyer in next 5 years. I will earn 1 million in 3 years. What is the way I will earn 1 million? What are the method I will earn 1 million? What are the tricks? What are the strategies that I will use in for 1 year, getting such kind of money? Write it down and see how Saturn will beautifully help you without any hesitation. Saturn will help. Try it out. Also, very important, because this Saturn here gives longevity to your hope also. So that means whenever you will hope for something, you will be so positive and manifesting it that it has to happen in your life. It can come a little bit delayed, but your goals are going to get complete. So please write it down. Again, I will tell you. Also, because when we talk about Saturn in the 11th house, Saturn is a malefic. We can never ever ignore this fact that Saturn is a malefic. So when it comes to your large social gatherings where we want to be very careful, it can also create some challenges related to defamation. And why defamation? Because of no reason of you. It is going to be someone else, but everything blames come on you, and you will be gracefully accepting that blame and say, okay, doesn't matter, and then you move forward. That is the big courage that you show here. Why? Because Saturn is putting the third aspect on the lagna, on the ascendant. Here it makes you so powerful that, okay, I don't care what people think about me. I will make sure that, I will put more effort again and I will build my empire again. In fact, there is also seen with Saturn in the 11th house, sometimes people create a great empire, everything falls down, then again go back to the greatness. So that is also what happens here. With very important Saturn in the 11th house, the key takeaways here should be that you should be goal oriented, that goal should be there, and long term goal, not short term goal. Short term goal you will not be able to achieve because Saturn needs patience. And secondly, you should be a visionary, that okay, how do my action help other people? You're running a coffee shop. You say, example, you're running a coffee shop, you give coffee to that person, and how does your action, a small note with that coffee that have a blessed day, or a small cookie that, okay, this comes on the house, example, something where you're actually making other people's day, their life, you're giving them direction, you're giving them happiness, you're giving them some kind of what do you say some kind of hope, is where you will see Saturn really really working very nice for you. Now, one common thing for here, this from here, Saturn looks at the eighth house of longevity. Any friends that come to your life will be for a very very long time, but also diseases. Now, this is very important to see. This 11th house is the Upchaya house, that is six from the six. If any disease comes, especially may come from the leg area, that you may have knee replacements, problem related to arthritis, pain in the leg, varicose veins, and Saturn also rules teeth, because it is looking at the ascendant and 11th. Also, so sorry, very important, ears. This shows that sometimes ear, a problem in, we can say, hearing, is there when Saturn is in the 11th house. So either you can lose hearing quickly, or very like at very age you will see that your hearing, like when you're turning 68 and above, you will see that hearing tendency keeps going down. If you even have parents, or a father mother have Saturn in the 11th house, you will see that yes, there is hearing kind of problem that is coming, because Saturn you know creates that kind of it creates that kind of problem. Sometimes with Saturn in the 11th house, it also says that depending on the malefic and the benefic nature, it says the aging becomes very very slow. Such people age very slowly in life, like they don't have you will say, oh, you are 50, I thought you're 35. That is the kind of thing that happens here, because it has to give you longevity, so it is preserving your longevity here. All the very best. I hope that you got a little bit of idea about how Saturn works in this situation in the 11th house. I would love your insights, that what do you feel about your Saturn, in the comments below. Do subscribe as well and share this video so that anyone who has Saturn here can also figure out. And there is a WhatsApp link if you want to discuss about your birth chart, anything, then we can discuss here. One more thing is that I am on Instagram, small channel with 3,000 followers at this moment when I'm making this video. And if you can follow there, I do make small nice videos related to some remedy, related to some stories. So if you can support, thank you so much. Moving on to the 12th house of a horoscope, the moksha bhava. Now, moksha is not a very simple word. It's a very very depth. It has very too much depth into it. And when Saturn comes here, your Your purpose or the work that you are supposed to do in this life will bring you one step closer to moksha. And nothing comes without pain. Nothing comes without pain. And this is a see, Saturn is a planet of sorrow. We have to understand that Saturn is a planet of punishment also. And whatever karma that or whatever punishment that we get for our karmas is for our karmas only, not for any other person's karma. Somewhere, somehow we have done something and it will come to us. Now, this is a very important house and very important placement for your subconscious mind, where your subconscious mind, and this subconscious mind always will demand isolation. It will say, just leave me alone, just I want to be all alone, I want to be away. There are other way to look at it. There may be possibility that you completely go into a different country altogether, where you are absolutely away from culture, very unorthodox place, and you are in a different landscape altogether. You are trying to adjust in a foreign country. This also, Saturn has so much power here that it can. And remember, only there is one way to achieve moksha, and that is karma. And Saturn is the lord of karma. So here it can make you achieve moksha by doing very rigorous penance, because you get mastery on your subconscious. You know where and how to spend, not to spend your time, your money, your effort, your emotions. So somewhere, very beautiful placement of Saturn. Whenever Saturn is in the 6th house, 8th house, 12th house, it is very great. And from here, Saturn actually looks at the third house, oh sorry, with the third aspect on the second house. This means that you will really get wealth after a lot of effort, because Saturn is putting the third aspect on the second house. If you want to accumulate wealth, it has to be a lot of effort. Also, when you are born somewhere and you go to a foreign country, that is where you can start accumulating more wealth. That also what Saturn does here. 12th house is house of enemies, and Saturn is considered enemy also in the Vedic astrology system, because in the Lal Kitab, Pandit Joshi ji writes that Saturn is the hidden snake that can bite anytime. It is a snake that also swallows its own kids. There is a very beautiful painting made by some of a very great artist from Europe. Just right, Saturn eating its own son. Oh my God, it's very horrible. It's very dangerous painting. If you look at it, you will say, "Oh my God," because Saturn. There was a story where Saturn eats its own son because of some problem. I don't know the Greek mythology behind it, but there is something related to that. Now, here with Saturn in the 12th house, it can give you hidden enemies, and sometimes that hidden enemies are your thoughts. This is the placement where you will keep overthinking, thinking. It's never ending. Sleeping becomes a what do you say, biggest problem in your life. You are not able to sleep very. If Saturn is malefic, if Saturn is very benefic, then it may be very easy on you because you have done such great karmas. But otherwise, sleep becomes a very out of hand kind of a stuff. Here, you will see that every moment you are seeing dreams from your past lives, you are seeing future, you are seeing present. Like every your subconscious mind is too active, and the karmas that you desire to do, your sleep, in the sleep also you're doing those karmas. So if you want to help an orphanage, in the sleep you're in that orphanage and you're helping such people there, because Saturn is also connected to older people. That means if there is grandfather, grandmother, this is the time that they come to your sleep and they try to communicate something with you. That is also very common when Saturn is in the 12th house. With Saturn in the 12th house, the best way to go about it is, the more higher education, the more positive it is for you, because the 10th aspect of Saturn goes on the 9th house. 9th house is the house of higher education. The more and more education you will do, the more and more Saturn will become very pleased here with you. I would also suggest that because Saturn is in the 12th house, pilgrimage and the desire that you have to build an ashram or a place of solitude where people can come and feel that spiritual retreat, that is exactly the motive that you should have. If Saturn is making any combination with Mars here, then please make sure that you are going towards construction of a temple or construction of any religious organization, which will help your Saturn finally achieve that goal that it has come here to do. Also, you will see that this is a placement of healers. When Saturn is here, you have already suffered so much throughout your past lives, and finally, with that wisdom, you are into that final place where you can be, your karma can bring you towards the moksha, towards the liberation, towards liberating energy. That's why you are become very healer. You are the one who will guide other people. I have seen with Saturn, because it looks at the sixth house of service. I've seen with people that their whole life is disaster, but they people come to them, like people with Saturn, that people come to you to ask you that my life is in trouble. How can you how what do I do? What do I not do? And you are the one who give them direction, right things. So it is a very extremely powerful placement of Saturn into your 12th house. When we also look at Saturn here with the eyes of what you say, the longevity kind of planet, here 12th house is exactly fifth from the eighth. This means that your children also comes to your life with, sometimes after a long time, like after long trying, or once they come, they have a very very extremely long life in their life. So that is very beautiful about the Saturn. This Saturn does not encourage speculation. The more and more you will do speculation, the more and more fear will come to you. This Saturn does not encourage criminal activities, because if you do criminal activities, Saturn will punish you and put you into a jail for a very long period of time, and then you will not be able to come out. House arrest, getting into jails, getting into hospital service. Like this is very good. Like sometimes in this situation, you have to do seva. That means to do righteous activities for other people. Saturn gives you the path of getting into a hospital or being a doctor or being a nurse, so that you're always associated with, service. In fact, one great thing about this Saturn in the 12th house is that you will, the moksha root, the area of moksha is with elder people. So the more and more you will serve elder people, the more it is better for you. I have seen a lot of nurses who are in long-term facility, like long-term care. Saturn's energy is present there. Saturn energy is present in three very common places. One is in sewages, because Saturn resides in sewages according to the texts. Second is Saturn resides in cold areas. Anything cold in your environment is Saturn. Like the air condition that we have is Saturn. The fridge that we use in Saturn. That's why we always tell that do not keep anything on the fridge, over the fridge, but keep on, like, put your goals on the fridge. Why? Because Saturn goal you will be able to accomplish over the long period of time. Why those people, I don't know, maybe it is a psychological thing that people started posting their tomorrow I have to go there somewhere and do this activity, I have to write on the fridge. Why do we write on? Saturn is associated with the fridge energy, like the cool energy. Same way, Saturn is also resides in the long-term facilities, where there are senior homes, where there are, old age homes. That is where Saturn really resides. So if you want to really ease down your karmas, then you have to go and associate yourself with old people and help them in some way or the other, because sometimes you get experience from dying people only. Some people who's on deathbed, they will tell you one or two such life lessons that will completely change your life. This is how Saturn goes to the 12th house. 12th house is also the ending of our ego. So this means Saturn comes here, and these people with Saturn in the 12th house have no ego at all. They will be always surrendering, always submissive and helping other people. Only thing, because second house has third aspect, unless until they are skillful, they will not be able to earn money. So the best way to go about this Saturn is to be very skillful. Try to put your effort, your heart, your life into some skill that is very exclusive to you. That is something that you should do. Very great time for sacrificial duty, very great placement for internal discipline, very great placement for ego dissolution. And the best thing is that it is a moksha house. That means your karma is giving you a chance to get moksha. So please understand the Saturn in the 12th house. If you're going through if by chance Saturn Mahadasha Antardasha comes, you will see that how much service you start doing. You will not be able to sleep. You will always be thinking that what is next, how do I do this service, that service, and whatnot. So it is a very powerful placement of Saturn in the 12th house for you. I hope that I was able to give you a little bit of idea. With Saturn in the 12th house, you should always sit in the Dhyana Mudra and do meditation, especially on Saturdays in the first hour of sunrise. Like sunrise happens at 7:20, 7:20 to 8:20 is the hora of Saturn. In that period, just sit down, do meditation. Just don't think about it. In meditation means completely blank. You don't think. Thoughts will come. Thoughts will keep coming because your brain cannot stop. Thoughts will keep coming, but just meditate. Just breathe. Breathing exercise. What is Saturn? Saturn is air. What is Ayu? Ayu means life, and Saturn is Vayu. It is air. Saturn is the air that we breathe to live. So please concentrate on breathing. There is very good book called Bhairav Tantra Sadhana. In that, Lord Shiva tells to Ma Parvati, breathe in and breathe out. The moment between the breathing in and breathing out is where I am. Because right now, when you're breathing and breathing out, you're just carrying your life. But the moment between that micro millionth second is where God is. So I don't know how much people have tried to use it, because there is one very good saint I follow from Vrindavan. He also said the same thing, that breathe in and breathe out, and between that point where you are completely, there is no breath, that is where God is. So I don't know what is the meaning behind it. I'm trying to figure out every day, but this I learned, so I am telling you. All the very best. Have a great beautiful time. I think we have exceeded 2 hours of this video. It's going crazy. Sorry for making it so long, but Saturn, not long things, longevity, slow things. So it happens like this only. All the very best. There is a WhatsApp link in the description for your personal appointments, and there is also your Instagram, where I do small videos. So do follow there, so that I can get a lot of motivation from you guys, that how I want to grow and whatnot. And there are some classes which I have told about, that is happening in 22nd of February. If you're watching after this, then you can do it later. But otherwise, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Hanuman, Jai Mata Di, Jai Ma Lakshmi, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya.